Okay, time for the next question. It's what have you learned from your audience feedback? Firstly, this year I done quite a lot of audience feedback. It varied from asking people from my own class to year 11 students in my school, sorry. And also I asked quite a lot of more professional people. I gave them links to my work, and then asked them their opinions, their feedback on it, which was quite useful because these were people who were much more familiar and had a much more professional opinion on things. So it was really helpful for me to get audience feedback from those people. Firstly, the Digipack, I showed the year 11 students my initial ideas, and they criticized it, saying, "Oh, it's just a picture of her. What's that? How is that useful?" And then a couple of students, they said, a couple of boys actually, which I was surprised at. They put their hands up and they said, if it's a photo, it has to be something that's really bright, something that's really eye-catching. Of course, and the whole class was in unison agreement that it had to be bold picture. For example, they cited Taylor Swift and Rihanna's Loud and Adele's 19 albums as references. Also, quite a lot of them highlighted the opinion that it's not about the cover, but it's about the music, what's inside. As long as the music's good and the Digipack, and the front cover was okay to look at, they didn't mind buying the album. Firstly, of course, at the later stage of the Digipack, I showed it to a couple of my peers. Some were impressed and some weren't, and they highlighted the fact that some of them didn't like the front cover because they thought that it was just not enough going on in the front cover, whereas I personally felt that it was a good representation of Abby because it's emotionless almost, and that's how an album cover, in my opinion, should be. For example, for example, in the album cover, quite a lot of it is quite interesting because of the fact that it's quite interesting because whenever I ask people for audience feedback, someone always criticized something, but also they were in agreement with my opinion, which I didn't tell them before. For example, some people highlighted the fact that they liked the website design, but they thought that perhaps it was appropriate for an upcoming artist, but perhaps not too professional looking for an artist like Rihanna or someone who's already established in the industry. Firstly, the first draft of the Digipack website, I posted this onto www.ukmix.org, which is like basically a collection of people who are music specialists. So when I asked them for information and their feedback, a lot of them said they liked the Digipack, but for the website they highlighted the fact that perhaps having two welcome screens, unless the first one had like something really eye-catching, wasn't necessary. But I felt it was part of the artist's integrity to keep that in. The music video, now this is something that audience feedback played a key role in. For example, at the first initial concept, I had this idea of this girl walking along the pavement, just giving random flowers out to people, intercut with scenes from a park, looking over the area, singing along, and etc. And also that idea, that was really, it really changed because as I was getting more used to the creative concept of music videos, that initial idea grew, and when I told people about the initial idea, they were like, they replied, "What's so interesting about that?" And of course, some people cited it was too much like Rihanna's "What's My Name" video, where she does walk around New York City, like different shots, like long close-ups, long shots, medium shots of her walking along New York City, and they said that it has been interesting because they find that video boring. Of course, this is where Piccadilly Circus went into this, and of course, at this stage the video started to grow. I had this idea about puppet burning, almost like she burning her inner demons, but a lot of people said that they didn't like it as much because of the fact that it was too scary for a neo soul artist. Of course, fire being a key theme in it doesn't really reflect the song. Of course, when I first told of my intro concept to my teachers, it was interesting what I thought, because he asked me, this is the only feedback I got, this is one of the main feedbacks I got from them, and he just basically asked me, would you watch a video like that? And then that's all I needed, because I realized that if I was watching a music video similar to my concept, I would be bored within like 20 seconds and just switch on to the next video. So I thought of things that would keep the audience going. So I thought about in Piccadilly Circus what we could do. We could have a walk around, of course, and of course I wanted shots of her in being in front of a screen, which did not come to plan as I had originally planned, because in the end we just done in a drama studio which was much more professional looking, which I was so relieved at when I looked at the footage in the editing room. The concept for the video, it was something that constantly grew, as opposed to the digipack and the website where I already had a clear creative image of what the final product would look like. On initial photography, in terms of the music video, firstly there was some really good shots, some really bad ones. Of course, at this stage I had taken into consideration things such as synergy, it being relative to the other ancillary tasks, but at the same time it being professional looking in terms of the framing. Framing, I think, is something I improved over the last year, because my last year productions, the framing, the mise-en-scene, everything was absolutely horrible, and I can proudly say that my skills as a professional videographer and a photographer grew basically. This was because, firstly, I felt there was personal link to the project, because this was something I had considered doing in my future as a actual career, so that motivated me. And in terms of audience feedback, I sometimes, whenever someone gave me feedback, I did take it too much to heart, because I was so passionate about this. In terms of the initial photography, I didn't change anything as much, but what I did was get more shots. For example, more shots of in the drama studio. The initial photography, I believe the majority of the stuff that I used was very good, but there was a lot of footage thrown out, not used, not even looked at, because I felt that as I was editing my music video, the quality demand for it, the set standard, it basically it rised in itself. Therefore, I need to make sure that in terms of the music video, especially the music video, it needed to be coherent, but also it needed to be coherent with everything else. In terms of post-production, I changed. I didn't change the theme so much, but I just used a variety of different shots. What I changed within the post-production was that in terms of the post-production, what I changed was the shots I had originally wanted to use. For example, they weren't professional looking enough, so therefore what I did change was the concept to an extent where it was much more of a live performance, but at the same time it reflected the artist's views. So I guess audience feedback really did help me.